Hello and welcome back to this YouTube video, and in this video we're going to be breaking down my client Kyle's journey in how he lost over 57 pounds of body fat. Now in this video we're going to be going through the exact method that we used to help Kyle lose 57 pounds of body fat, the exact phases that we went through, how we managed the process, and how we were able to go through all of this without Kyle having to give up his social life, without having to give up time with friends and family, and also without having to do hours and hours of cardio and follow a restrictive diet. With us, it was very much a balance and a lifestyle, and that was how Kyle was able to lose the weight and keep it off for the rest of his life. Now, as you see here, this is Kyle's starting position where he came to me on day one. Now, who is Kyle? Now, Kyle is a hard-working family man. He has a young daughter. He enjoys his football and loves a few beers at the weekend. Now, Kyle initially reached out to me on Instagram. We had a good chat there, but we then jumped on an initial consultation call where we had, again, a bit more of a detailed conversation about where Kyle is right now, where he truly wants to go. We had a chat about his goals in a bit more detail, and then also having a bit of a conversation about the challenges that he is currently facing. Once we had this conversation, we then agreed to get started on his journey, and I went away and developed Kyle's initial program that we started working on. Now, why did Kyle reach out? Why did we get started on this journey? And in all honesty, it was because Kyle was in a rut. He'd been carrying too much weight for the majority of his life. He tried many things to try and lose the weight, try to get in better shape. With the majority of his time, he was trying to spend a lot of that on training, but he just knew simply that he had to make a change and he had to get himself out of this rut that he was in. Now, how do we go about the process? And we're going to go through this in a bit more detail, but we effectively work through our unique 4-phase process, which is our guilt-free nutrition method, tuned to you training, airtight accountability, and then our metabolic stabilization system to allow for lifelong results. Now, as you see here, this is Kyle's weight loss graph. This is exactly how we went about this in terms of the 5 phases that we went through. Now, initially, we went off with that initial introduction to a calorie deficit. Now, you need to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose body fat and lose weight. It is science, it is categoric. You have to be in a deficit to lose weight. So we started him in his initial deficit. Then along this journey, you have to make adjustments, you have to make tweaks and changes to calories, to carbohydrates, to fats, to break through these plateaus. And if you make those incremental adjustments throughout the deficit, you break through those plateaus where a lot of people get stuck at a certain weight. Because at the start of a weight loss journey, it is a little bit easier to lose weight, and you can pretty much start losing weight right away, pretty quickly. However, you have to make those adjustments because you hit a plateau. So we were obviously able to see these, potential plateaus coming and adjust his deficit, week by week, bi-weekly, to make sure that we were losing body fat every single week, as you can see from the graph. Then after we lost a large amount of body fat, we then entered a diet break for metabolic normality, to get his metabolism back firing, bring foods back up, reduce cardio. What that does is then that basically means that all of the food, the energy, the carbs that Kyle is consuming go straight into his training session. So he was able to get stronger, develop more lean muscle, but it's also the case of that you can't be dieting week on week, every single, month or every single year. You have to have a diet break where we bring those foods back up and get Kyle back to eating normal levels of food again without gaining that body fat. Once we had that diet break, we were then able to go straight back into another deficit, overcome Christmas, the social occasions that come around in the December period, navigate these really well through our systems, through everything that we've shown Kyle, all of the protocols that we have around social meals, alcohol, etc. And then we entered that deficit back in January, ready to push on again and help Kyle continue losing more body fat. Now, like I said, a 4-step process to help Kyle get these results, starting off with our guilt-free nutrition system. Now, what a lot of people do when they go into a diet and they start a fat loss phase, like everyone seems to do, is they go straight for a restrictive diet, chicken and rice every single day, which isn't sustainable. They'll cut out carbs and try and, reduce the amount of breads and pastas they're eating, when carbs aren't bad, but there's that myth that carbs are the enemy here. But if you consume carbs at the right time and the right amount of them, you lose body fat and your performance and energy levels are incredible. So a lot of people go wrong by cutting out carbs. They over restrict, they remove all of their favorite foods, which just leads to inconsistencies. It makes the whole process much more difficult. And then long term, it's not sustainable because at some point you're going to want to eat these foods again. So by making these mistakes, everyone ends up having crazy high cravings, low energy levels, fatigue, and obviously struggle, and therefore you fall off track after only a few weeks or a few months. Instead, what we do with our guilt-free nutrition system is we build you a custom-made nutrition plan. We built Kyle his own plan, built specifically for him, you know, giving him the structure that he needs to eliminate the guesswork. So he's no longer guessing around calories, foods, proteins, carbs. It eliminates that guesswork, gives you that structure so that you know X, Y, Z exactly what you need to be eating to lose the body fat. So Kyle had that blueprint in place for him from day one that we built around him. But because it was our guilt-free nutrition method, we always incorporated foods that Kyle loves. And at the same time, being able to manage social occasions, go out and see friends and family, do it guilt-free and still see results because of the systems that we put in place. So he was able to eat foods that he loves, go out with his fiance, you know, go and see family, eat out at restaurants, have his beers at weekends, and still see results because of the systems and protocols that we put in place. This makes the whole process so much more sustainable down the line because you don't have to add these foods back into your diet. You're able to continue eating the foods you love and keep the body fat off. This is why we don't have a yo-yo effect with our clients who lose weight when they come and work with us. And that was the same with Kyle. Then it comes to training. So tune to you training to lose body fat here. What everyone does, again, the mistakes that everyone seems to make here is that they try and do hours of cardio. They lace up the running shoes, they start running for hours and hours and hours, which just leads to, you know, injuries, again, inconsistencies. Unless you enjoy that, you don't need to be doing it. People start doing crazy HIIT workouts, you know, the Joe Wicks jumping in front of the TV style, or they have in-person personal training sessions, which isn't the answer either because that's just training. We need to focus on nutrition and diet. You can train as hard as you like, but if you're not focusing on diet as well, you're not going to see the results. Plus with in-person PTs, it's not as much results driven because they want you to be working with them for a while. They want you to be a client for a long period of time. Whereas for us, we want to get you those results, show you how you can maintain it for the rest of your life so that you can go and do this on your own and replicate what we've shown you for years and years and years alone. Now, in my opinion, cardio is not necessary at the start. You don't need to be doing cardio and hours of it. You can add little bits of cardio in down the line when necessary, but we prefer list cardio, so low intensity, steady state, so it doesn't, you know, hinder progress. It doesn't take loads of energy. It's just steady state cardio. Now, what we do instead of our tune to you training is that with Kyle, we built a bespoke plan around his time, his gym, his schedule, his routine. We really worked closely with him on this so that we knew that he could go into that gym with confidence and clarity, a few home workouts as well, that he knew he could do that would actually help him get results here. Providing Kyle with that structure so that he knew exactly what exercises to be doing, reps, sets, you know, the intensity to train with. He knew everything that he needed to do to go and get results. We actually also focus on training methods that Kyle enjoys. You know, he tried lots of training before that he didn't enjoy. He tried the running on the treadmill for hours. He didn't enjoy that. So we stripped this back, and what we did is we implemented some resistance training with Kyle so he could get stronger and build lean muscle whilst he lost that body fat. And this is just a far more sustainable method, again, when it comes to training, something that you can enjoy, something that you can uphold and focus on alongside the diet to really drive results. And then we tie it all together with our airtight accountability. So what we did with Kyle is every single week we had those one-to-one check-ins where we were able to, you know, make the adjustments, make the necessary changes, those tweaks to overcome plateaus, to hold him accountable, to give him that support that he needed so that every week he was seeing progress. We were also obviously there for any questions or queries that Kyle had throughout the entire process. You know, working so closely with someone one-to-one, you're able to really offer that support that's required to get Kyle from A to B. And then what was really key here as well with Kyle is that we were able to strategize for the week ahead. So we look into the week ahead for Kyle. What's coming up from like a social life point of view? Where's work? How's the schedule looking? What's the routine saying? How busy are we? And then what we can do is by looking at that week, we can build a plan around it, strategize for that week. So any obstacles that comes Kyle's way, we're able to navigate and have a plan around that he can execute on and get results. The reason why 90% of people gain the weight back and actually go into that yo-yo is because they have a hard stop when they stop dieting. You know, accomplish the goal, stop, then what? There's no aftercare, there's no process that happens afterwards to actually help you maintain those results. Or you use like a really unsustainable method, a very restrictive method to lose the weight, so then you overindulge when the diet is finished. And then you eat that loads of food and then gain the weight back. So this isn't very sustainable. There's no sustainability with 90% of diets, which is why we really focus on that key piece to allow you to lose the weight and keep it off. So what we do is we implement our metabolic stabilization system. And what this means is that you are able to maintain the results that you've achieved after Kyle had lost all of his weight. He was able to keep it off. What we do here is we steadily increase our foods back up to sort of maintenance levels, reducing that cardio, and got his metabolism back to a normal level. What this meant was we were able to get Kyle back eating very normal again in terms of normal amounts of food around his maintenance, whilst keeping the body fat off that we had lost in the first place. And because of this system, Kyle was able to maintain the weight loss, maintain the 57 pounds that we'd helped him lose, and keep it off for the rest of his life. So now we look at Kyle. He's over 55 pounds down in body fat. He's more confident than ever with his brand new physique, more muscle, less body fat, his abs coming through. And because we've perfected that system that allows him to maintain the results, Kyle can live the rest of his life, happy, healthy, fit, confident, knowing that he is now no longer ever going to see that 57 pounds that we'd lost ever again. Not only that, but because we were able to do it with social occasions and, his beers and football at the weekends, he knows that he can live that lifestyle well and truly now and live the lifestyle that he actually enjoys whilst keeping the body fat off. So I hope this video was useful, a little bit of a different video here, just going through one of our client case studies in terms of how we actually help our members at Lean for Life Coaching get great results. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was pretty useful. If you do have any questions, please just drop them in the comments down below. Now, if this is something that you think you want to do, you want to lose that stubborn fat, you want to lose that sort of belly fat that you've been trying to shift for a while now and it's just not happening, then what you can actually do is you can go down below, click the link to request some more information on our coaching. I'll reach out, we can have a conversation and see if this is something for you. But I appreciate you guys watching. Any questions, as always, leave them in the comments and I'll see you in the next video.